TransCanada is pumping the brakes on their Energy East pipeline application. I know, it sounds totally crazy. Isn't that exactly what the Liberals and environmental activists want? Well, it looks like they may get their way. The National Energy Board has granted the application suspension so TransCanada can go back to the drawing board to make sure this pipeline would actually be viable and profitable. They're already contending with pricey carbon taxes, and now the NEB has brought in new regulations on emissions that the company has to consider. We know the emissions business is expensive as it is. Just look at all the oil and gas companies leaving Alberta after Rachel Notley brought that carbon tax in. And they're taking their jobs and investments with them. But TransCanada's double take isn't just about the carbon tax. We know the details now, and the new NEB panel wants to factor both upstream and downstream emissions into the equation for Energy East, something that was never considered for other projects like the Line 9 reversal and Northern Gateway. So what does that mean? The feds define upstream emissions as all industrial activities from the point of extraction to the point of sale. They brought this whole thing into play in 2016. Keep in mind that TransCanada applied for the approval of this project in 2014, but it's still subject to these new changes. And this new definition coming from the Liberals covers things like extraction, processing, and transport that are actually handled by other companies and totally out of the control of TransCanada. So how is the Department of Environment and Climate Change going to assess these emissions? Well, they're partnering up with various organizations to figure the impacts out. They used the Pembina Institute to do the calculations on the now dead $36 billion Pacific Northwest LNG project. Pembina received $95,000 from Tides US, a foundation known to fund anti-oil activism in Canada. And Pembina has promoted a moratorium on the oil sands. Will the Liberals use the Pembina Institute to assess the upstream emissions for Energy East too? Basically, the federal government's climate change dogma is killing a privately funded $13.7 billion project that could actually decrease the country's dependence on Middle East conflict oil and bring jobs and economic prosperity to Canada. The Liberals are against pipeline development. The only difference between now and before Trudeau and McKenna came to power is that they were in the protest line then. Now they're in the boardroom. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single update from the crew at Rebel Canada, where we bring you the other side of the story that you're not going to find anywhere else.